strikes from either side after nearly 2 straight weeks of nightly bombing. And this comes as U.S. officials, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Caine, are warning about the dwindling supply of U.S. air defense munitions. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations also weighing in, saying President Trump is giving diplomatic efforts a chance.
What the president is doing right now, as we've seen all along, is giving some talks, some space. Talks are ongoing. They're happening at every level.
CNN Zach Cohen is joining me now. Zach, he also said, that the U.S. ambassador to the UN, that the troops have all they need when it comes to this fight with Iran. But we're hearing about these dwindling munitions. What's the sense of what's going on here, Zach?
Yes, Sarah. Ambassador Waltz did say that the U.S. has all the munitions it needs, but that does not line up with what we've been reporting, frankly, since back in April, when analysts and Pentagon data has shown that the Pentagon's munition stockpile, including these key missile defense systems, are running low because of the high frequency with which they're being used during this war with Iran. And while the White House and the Trump administration is arguing that this temporary pause over the last 3 days is intended to give space for diplomacy, we've learned new details about a consequential meeting that took place at the White House on Friday when discussions were being had about potentially escalating the conflict with Iran. All of the president's top advisors were in the room, we're told, and there were some hard truths laid out for the president by both Vice President J.D. Vance and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Dan Caine, both of them warning about potential concerns related to the options for escalating this conflict. And Caine, in particular, pointed to these warnings about the U.S.'s diminishing stockpile of key munitions, saying that if the U.S. continues to use them at the clip that they've been using them so far in this conflict, they may not have enough for the next war, especially if it's against an adversary like China or Russia. Now, this is just one of the concerns, we're told, that was raised during this meeting on Friday that ultimately preceded the ongoing temporary pause. The other concerns that were raised included potentially massive amounts of civilian casualties inside Iran if the U.S. were to follow through with Trump's threat to strike civilian infrastructure, things like power plants and bridges, things of that nature. We're also told that concerns about retaliation against Gulf energy infrastructure and a broader regional escalation were also mentioned. So ultimately, those concerns all taken into account seem to have led to this current pause, but there's still so many questions about whether or not diplomacy can ultimately get back on track and bring an end to this war.
This reporting that CNN has, I was just speaking about with Betsy, about the concerns raised by Vice President Vance and General Caine, concerns specifically about munition stockpiles. Ambassador Walt, in part, was blaming that on aid that the U.S. has given to Ukraine. A, it doesn't seem like it's that simple, but I'll let you answer that question. But B, what does this tell you about the overall impact on U.S. military readiness?
Well, there's certainly an impact, Erica, on U.S. military readiness, no doubt about it. But let's put things into perspective. When you look at the expenditure of Patriot missile munitions in Ukraine, you're talking in the